Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to my Astronomy 111 end of semester project. I decided to do my project about one of the unsolved mysteries of our solar system, and it is the silence of the universe and where is extraterrestrial life. So now in every solar system we know of, we only know of our planet having life. And so what do we know about life? Where is it? And that is what the Fermi Paradox poses. Where is all the other life? Why are we the only ones? We'll go over the Drake equation and the Great Filter, which is two of the most well-known parts of the Fermi Paradox trying to answer it. Also some of the rebuttals and some other answers to the Fermi Paradox. Also, why is it unsolved? And also, if we could try to solve it in the future. So first off, what do we know about life? First, we know that life on Earth is based on carbon. To quote from Dorn's Life USC, nitrogen constitutes about 78% of the Earth's atmosphere, where it exists mainly in its most stable form, a gas called nitrogen, or nitrogen 2. Most animals and plants can't use nitrogen 2. They first need it turned into a more reactive form, such as ammonia, through a process called nitrogen fixation, and using a special enzyme, breaking the bond between the two nitrogen atoms and attach other atoms to each, making new molecules that other living organisms can use. The process is crucial to life on Earth. And also to quote my article from NBC News, quote, life on Earth is based on carbon, likely because each carbon atom can form bonds with up to 4 other atoms simultaneously. This quality makes carbon well suited to form the long chains of molecules that serve as the basis of life as we know it, such as proteins, DNA. Now, the next part that we know about life is that it needs water. It requires water in some capacity. To quote from Harvard, quote, water's extensive capability to dissolve a variety of molecules has earned it the designation of a universal solvent, and it is this ability that makes water such an invaluable life-sustaining force on a biological level. Water's role as a solvent helps cells transport and use substances like oxygen or nutrients. Water-based solutions like blood help carry molecules to the necessary locations. Thus, water's role as a solvent facilitates the transport of molecules like oxygen or respiration. It also helps the cellular structure. Quoting from Harvard again, water fills cells to help maintain shape and structure, contribute to the formation of membranes surrounding cells. And finally, we have not been able to find any intelligent life out there. Now, let's go over the Fermi Paradox. The Fermi Paradox is trying to answer the question, where is extraterrestrial life? Life on Earth, it came out, it is now around, obviously. But the problem is that there is no other life that we've been able to find. Where is the solar system expanding empire? Where is the rest of the life in the galaxy? Why are there no radios? Why there's no radio signals or radio sounds that we've been able to pick up? Why haven't we found any evidence of any other intelligent life? Now let's go over two of the most common rebuttals. The first one is the Drake equation. The Drake equation is an estimate of how many civilizations are in the Milky Way right now. And if you're looking at the slide, it is n equals r star times fp times ne times fl times fi times fc times l. All of these meaning different probabilities of civilization. Now, according to the equation, there are very few. There's maybe 8 or something like that, somewhere around that number. Very, very few amount To quote from Britannia.com, the equation aimed to find the number n of intelligent civilizations within the bounds held by the subsequent factors, in our case, the Milky Way galaxy. Now let's talk about some of the rebuttals. Now the first rebuttal is that you use a lot of estimations into this calculation. It can't answer the Drake equation because it has all these parts that we don't really know the actual numbers for, like the length of time that those civilizations dispatch their signals, so like sending out radio signals, sending out something that we can actually receive on Earth, the fraction of civilizations that reach that technological level, so just even getting there in the first place, those like radio signals that we've been listening to. Also the fraction of habitable planets whereon intelligent life could appear. Well, in our experience, right now we only have one confirmed planet that can inhabit life, and that's Earth. We don't have any others. We have predictions. We have exoplanets that we believe can, but we don't actually know. We don't have concrete evidence that they do. And all of this goes into the calculation. And so you can have a wide variety of answers. You can have thousands of civilizations. You could have less than one. It's really a matter of finding what estimation you really kind of want. The second part is, even if there was only a few civilizations out there, why have we not been able to find anything of them? No evidence of them actually existing. But this is what I'm really saying here is no superstructures. There's no artificial satellites around planets that we suspect might have life. There's no probes entering Earth's atmosphere. There's no radio messages, as I said previously. There's nothing out there that is telling us there is life out there right now. Even if there was, there is no shred of evidence. There's no anything, no probes that are going out, where we've sent out at least 6 out into outer space, and we've been able to get none back. And thirdly, the Drake equation keeps needing to be updated as we find out more and more about life. It's heavily reliant on Earth being the only factor. But as we've discovered more and more about life and asteroids and stuff like that, especially that asteroids, it seems you also need a big gas giant to take those asteroids away so that it doesn't blow up your planet, kind of like what happened with the dinosaurs. You also need, a sun that you need to also be in the habitable zone of your sun. You can't be too hot, can't be too cold. You have to have the right amount of, you have to go around the sun enough. And remember, this is all just basing it on Earth, because we only know Earth to have life on it. Now let's go over our second part, the Great Filter. Now, the Great Filter posits that life is harder to come by than we think, and that there's something that's keeping intelligent life from talking to us. There's some massive barrier, if you get the analogy. Something happens that makes life just stop, or a civilization just stop, right? To actually quote from somebody from George Mason that did a paper similar, to quote from Robin Hanson from George Mason, the Great Silence implies that one or more of these steps are improbable. There is a, quote, great filter, end quote, along the path between simple dead stuff and explosive life. Now, just to give you an idea of what these great filters are, there's 2 types of filters that are being theorized. The first one is that is the not reached barriers. Now, this could be a plethora of things, from an uninhabitable planet. Over time, our planet is going to eventually come out of the habitable zone for life as we know it. And so our planet might just become either too hot or too cold for us to live on anymore. As well as maybe an asteroid hitting the Earth. I mean, that's still a possibility. I mean, it took out the dinosaurs. It could easily take out us. And also human intervention. The doctrine of MAD, mutually assured destruction. That may be, if that comes into effect, then that may destroy our civilization. It is also could be possible. It can also be a possible barrier. Now, the other part of the barrier is also a little bit more nicer thinking, is that we've already passed the required barrier that destroys all civilizations that came before it. One of these is the development of nukes. Also, development of nukes. Obviously, after World War II, using those nukes, and then we could have blown all of ourselves up. As well as, same thing, mutually assured destruction. The development of MAD might have also been a barrier that we won't. That the idea is that if we could all, because we can all destroy ourselves, then don't start something that could destroy all ourselves. Otherwise, we'll destroy ourselves. But it could also be something as simple as multi-cell life starting. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. This just being able to just start life. Might be the barrier. Because we still don't. Because even today, we still don't really know how life started. So even maybe breaking past that barrier, just being able to be alive, might even be the barrier. Now, let's talk about some of the rebuttals. And I will say that I am a little bit biased. I do believe in the Great Filter being the answer to the Fermi Paradox. But I did come up with a few things. Is that if we are the only example we know of life. So maybe other civilizations thought that maybe expansion to the universe was too expensive. So like building satellites. Crazy thing. Because most of what we got is from wars from ourselves, rivalries from ourselves, of our own civilization. And maybe they were more others. All other civilizations are way more peaceful and passful, so they don't develop past the medieval age, or maybe they don't want to, or they think that launching a satellite into space is completely arbitrary, or maybe their atmosphere is too heavy to bring something like that. And so it'll be a lot harder for us to detect them in the first place. Furthermore, if there was some kind of barrier where there's wrecks of thousands of civilizations out there, then how can we not find some of these ruins, If the Great Barrier is something that destroys every civilization that comes before it, then why can't we find something of that being evident in the universe? Furthermore, if these ruins and if these wrecks are unable for us to be discovered, like the whole planet blows up, then wouldn't there be some kind of radio signals, from alien life forms? Now, the very famous WOW signal might be one of these radio signals, but we'll never really know. Furthermore, there should be something. The idea of it is basically there should be some kind of evidence that at some point there was something happening out there. But there's nothing. It's all the great silence. Now let's talk about some of the other ones that I kind of found interesting. Some of the other theories or hypotheses, in this case, that I found interesting that answers this unanswerable question. The first one being that Earth is the only planet that can support life. Basically kind of playing off of that Great Filter idea. You have Great Filter idea with a bit of the Drake equation in there that you have that you have multiple gas giants. The planet has been hit for asteroids for years and years now. Something that Earth is able to have life. It has the ozone. It has water, liquid water. All these things could be also can be it. It could also be the firstborn hypothesis, which is a little bit like the Great Barrier. That's saying that we're the first ones to break past the Great Barrier, but it's not that. But it plays off a little bit of it being that it's not only that we're the first to break off the barrier, we're the first period. That there's a lot more coming after us, but we're taking the lead. We're in the head. The next one is the Berserker hypothesis, which is a little bit more saddening, but it is also part of the Great Filter where a civilization destroys itself. That at some point we will destroy ourselves, and there's nothing we can do to really stop it. Or what it really says is that all alien life before us destroyed themselves. And so we're the first after a universe-wide extinction. There's also the deep forest hypothesis, which is playing off of what I said earlier, that alien civilizations may have developed differently from us, and they're not as eager to talk to us than we are to them. There's the zoo hypothesis, where Earth is being intentionally disconnected from the rest of the universe by some unknowable alien beings, or some kind of which was one hypothesis I cut out, but like maybe Earth is being contained in some kind of zoo or something like that, or a science experiment or something like that that's being contained away from the rest of civilizations. And the last one is the avastation hypothesis, which is extraterrestrial beings were formed but the universe is too hot for them, as in the universe right now is uninhabitable for them. And it's gotten uninhabitable recently. And so what we know as the universe being hot might have before it been extremely cold, or something on that kind of idea, that it used to be habitable, but now it's uninhabitable, and we were able to form while it was uninhabitable, or we were able to adapt to it and be able to rise to our intelligence. And all the extraterrestrial civilizations that would be around while we exist, that are around during our existence, are just waiting for it to get colder in the universe, or also known as the Big Chill in the universe, so that they can continue their own civilization existence. Now, why is it going to stay unsolved? Why is the Fermi Paradox going to be unsolved? And the real thing is that we only know life can form based on carbon. And even though there's been people been theorizing about a silicon-based civilizations, the real meat and bones of it is that we can't go to these exoplanets and be able to confirm or rule out that any life form past Earth could exist. In the Drake equation, it talks about life being common, but intelligence, real intelligence, like on our levels, being extremely rare to find. And that's real interesting to me to think about, that life may be out there. We might have even seen it at some point on a planet that contains life. But because our intelligence is a great barrier, developing that intelligence is a great barrier, we will never find it, because finding something on our intelligence is feasibly the barrier. Is like a great barrier. But in this case, for this, sort of the Fermi Paradox would kind of be solved, as the Great Barrier would be the barrier. The consciousness would be barrier. So, how can we solve this in the future? As unlikely as I said it, what we truly want to know is, what is this great filter? If there is one, or what it really is. The great filter would answer a lot of questions if we could ever find out. Just as simple as it being life being able to exist. Even though that might not answer a lot of questions about how life existed, we know just it starting to exist is the great filter, it would go a long way into answering a lot of questions about life and such. Obviously, finding life beyond Earth would also answer the question, as disproving there being no life outside of Earth would obviously answer it. But also, as I said, discovering how life began, whether it be heteropathic, where life just spontaneously, the Panspermia, which it came from a different planet, or maybe even the RNA world hypothesis, which RNA which is in every cell, eventually just kind of merge together with itself and form DNA. Here's our my works cited page, and I hope you like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.